How's everyone doing? As you can tell, I'm trying out some new ways to sit and make videos because the old way, I don't really like anymore. Today I'm going to be going over That's a Wrap, which is a really simple, quick, movie-making card game. It is for 13 and up. Pretty cool cleverness right there. 2 to 5 players and plays in about 15 minutes. I'd say about 20 minutes. This is great for family settings and quick games with your friends. What's cool about it is because it does play in about 5 phases. And each phase is just really good at being straight to the point. You know, you have the reveal of scripts and actors, then you bid on these scripts and actors, then you have the take that aspect of the game where you're playing cards either to hinder your opponents or to help yourself. Then you release the film, so now you're calculating the profit that you're making from the movie. And last but not least, you are putting in your film, whether it's actors or the movie or the director itself, to be an Oscar award winner. You do that 4 times, with the last 2 rounds introducing more advanced cards, and you have a really great game that is quick, plays really efficiently, you know, it's easy to learn, and then with the advancement cards that are added later in the game, you know, it adds a lot more variety to the game. You can hire more actors, you can use like different types of genres, and really try your best at making a good movie. This is That's a Wrap. It is for 2 to 5 players, playing in 15 minutes, and for 13 and up. What comes inside this box, you may be wondering? Everything you see here. Genres, scripts, studios, underdog, talents, A and B, Oscar awards, influence, dice, money in the millions, and your friendly neighborhood cheat sheets. Which is not everything in the game, but other things are just, I'll show you eventually. So let's get started with the rulebook. This rulebook I found very pleasant. Why? Because it does a great job giving you the premise of the game, being a movie director and being ready to make the wildest movies in the world at a very quick experience. I think that's why I was so interested in this, because I'm a pretty big movie buff, if I do say so myself, for the most part. And I love the idea of making movies, making a film within 15 minutes per person in the game. So for a 2-player game, 30 minutes, 3-player game, 45 minutes. And I love that because it really creates this idea. It really works with a theme where you are having your own movie studio and putting these films together and worrying about issues that happen during the pre-production and during the release, and then scoring Oscar tokens for it, which is something I was really excited and am excited about as I played it. Now let's continue with the rulebook here. Obviously it's very great. Yeah, it is a little wordy, but it is very helpful in learning the game. I think it does a great job at really explaining thoroughly how everything works, from phase 1, explaining, you know, what happens in the game, what happens once you reach the third and fourth round, to, you know, special things that happen. A couple of things I wasn't a big fan of is the way the notes look. I think it's a little too small to really emphasize the importance of these notes. However, as we keep going, you know, it's really easy to follow here. Everything really makes sense and is really cleverly written. You know, as far as like bidding on certain scripts or bidding on certain stars, like the price of the initial bid is important because of how it plays within your movie. Some things actually work together better than others, right? Then you have the phase of the third phase where you're shooting, and this is where you get to play special cards to attack players or help yourself, which is really fun. And then, of course, releasing the film and collecting your profit for how well the movie did. And what's great about that, and what I really loved about that is, you know, if you're making an action film, obviously the action film isn't going to do as well as a drama in an Oscar situation, but will probably produce more money because everyone likes an action film. So really, it's nice to see like the trade-off of those types of things. And of course, my favorite part of the game is phase 5, collecting your Oscars. So you're building, you know, the worth of your actor within these few rounds and building the worth of your screenplay and director. And I love that because It creates the illusion of creating an actual film and doing whatever you can to make that film pop and pop out of and pop among everybody else playing this game. And then you even have, you know, your lifetime achievements towards the end of the game. So let's get into a couple more things, and let's get into the game itself. So in this game, each player starts with all 8 genre cards, but go ahead and place aside all the advanced cards. These will be used in a 3rd and 4th round, and this is a four round game. You'll also receive 3 influence tokens, $25 million, 1 creative control card, which I'll explain later, and 3 studio cards. So I'm doing this in a 3-player game. Very simple. So let's get started. Draw and reveal scripts and actors for your first phase. So the number of players in the game are how many script cards you will place out, plus 1. So since I'm doing a 3-player game, making sure all advanced scripts don't show up yet. Now I'll place out talent actors. Now I'm going to start with the B list actors before I place the A list. A list, which you can't see, but the A list actors show up after 3rd and 4th round. So since this is a 3-player game, we'll be drawing 3 B list actors plus 1. And it's going to look like that. Now, you know, now everyone's going to take a look at these scripts and take a look at these actors and then choose a genre. And then they're going to choose a genre that they think is going to work best with this film that they think they want to bid on, okay? So let's say I want to make, you know, this is a pretty well-written script. It's got 3 points, and it also looks like it scores a pretty good profit, versus this teen film, which is a 2-point script. So it's not as well-written as the monster movie, or it looks like the sports, but kind of relies it based on the TV show. However, you notice here, the TV show scores the most profit on its own. So I'm going to go ahead and break down my 25 million into 5s. Once you had a chance to check out all the scripts and actors, you're going to want to play a genre down, okay? So, you know, I think I want to work on kind of like a monster film, so I think I might. But here's the thing, though. You know, if I make an action film, I'm not going to get any Oscar bonuses as you'd see with drama. So I'm going to go for a, you know, a nice little balance here. I'm going to make a comedy monster film. So I'm going to play my genre down. And then everybody does the same thing. And then they reveal at the same time. If you have a unique genre, go ahead and give yourself a quick little influence point. Everyone else, well, sorry, no influence point, but continue with your drama. Now the initial bid has to sum the number on the script and the number on the profit. So this is 5. I think everybody else is going to be going for these. Let me check my script card. Let me check my studio cards really quick. So I have an over budget where you lose 1 million for every profit in your movie. That's something that would work to hinder an opponent. This adds a +1 to screenplay. And I have a best original score for an Oscar point towards my Oscars. Now, what I could do is, since I don't want to lose money, I could put a quick bid on a teen film for 5 points and add the screenplay push to make it a better movie. Or what I think I'm going to do is actually place down 6 points on the monster movie. So now everybody else gets a chance to bid on this monster film. So this player, you know, he's like, I take it. I have my eyes set on something else. And this player, he kind of wants to play the gamble. So he's going to put, since 6 is the initial bid, he's going to place 7. So then I'm like, okay, I do want that monster film just because I've already started. Why not? And I play more. He backs out. He doesn't want to do it anymore. So he is out of that bid. So I take this, relieve my money, and now I have a script for my film. Now, since I have a script, I can no longer bet on any other scripts, and I cannot overbet people who are betting on scripts. I can only get an actor now. You can only have one of each during rounds 1 and 2. During rounds 1 and 2. So then the second player goes and he bets on this, and they both had a nice little quarrel to get this card, but he ended up winning. And then this player, he's just being cheap, so he goes for the teen film. And nobody decided to go for actors for some reason. Everyone wanted to get their script out of the way, so now we're going on actors, and it's just the same exact thing, you know, playing bets and collecting. So, you know, I want this person for my monster film. Sports, you can do a female film, it looks like, and then we have the washed up teacher for this teen film over here, which I can kind of see where this film's going. Now we have the shooting phase. So you could begin this phase by asking yourself, do you want to have control of your film, or do you not want control of your film? So if you choose to have no control of your film, you actually get to play a studio card for free. Now, if you were to choose to have control of your film, no one can play cards on you. However, you can't play any studio cards until everyone's done with their first round of studio cards, and then you can pay an influence token to play one. But I'm not going to have control. I'm not too worried right now. What I'm going to do is actually kind of start my movie pretty quick here with both of these. What I could do, or could have done, was discard this to get a new one, which I think I was going to do that anyways, because I don't really like that card. I'd have this. It's a dramatic reshoot. I can change somebody's drama, or change my own. And then everyone does so. And since I played 2 cards, I have to play 1 influence. The first one's free, the second one I have to pay an influence for. Now we release the film. This is where things get fun. So I have a comedy that has a screen push and the best original score with this good-looking guy in this monster movie. So to start off, I'm going to ask myself, I want to play any extra additional influence, if I want to play any additional profits to this movie. Now, what does that mean? If I can get 15 points of profit and am the highest rolled profit, I'll get a quick Oski award. However, whatever you score will score you money. Will score you money and influence for hitting it. So, you know, I don't want to flop. I want to at least be profitable so I can get some money for this film. So I'm just going to stick to this. I'm not going to play any influence. I'm going to save my influence first round anyways. So I roll. That's a terrible roll, and that's how I've always rolled every time I play this game. I play this far too many times to know this is my roll. I hate it. Anyways, I add together all the profit symbols in my film, and then I add together dice rolls, and then any influence that I used. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Wouldn't you know I flopped? So I get 5 million in 1 influence. So everyone else does that, and once everyone's done that, gotten their profit and their influence, we move on to my favorite phase in the game. The Oskies, baby. You need 10 points to be given a chance to win an Oski. You have to be the highest in this group of friends or enemies, I don't know what round you're in yet, to win the Oski. So you pay 2 million to run a campaign for each component of your film. So I'm going to go all in, because that's what I like to do. I'm going to do all 6. Now, since I am nominating myself for Best Director, I can play influence points. I'm going to play 3 of them, because as you can see, the Best Actor scores for stars, Oskies in film, and the dice roll. Script and in director is influence. So let's go with this. So since I'm doing all 3, I'm going to start with the actor. 5, 6, 7, 8 for having Best Original. Unfortunately, that's not enough. Terrible movie. Of course I flop, even though this is not a bad dice roll. So how about screenplay? Ooh, that's 6. 7, 8, 9. 10, 11. I am nominated. No one else can beat 11 for me to win this. Now director. 6. And keep in mind, I'm following this here. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I'm nominated for 2. So let's say everybody else does this, and I have the highest roll for screenplay. I get an Oscar. I don't have the highest for director. Third player did. They get an Oscar. And this repeats 3 more times. By the 3rd and 4th round, go ahead and introduce A talent actors and advanced genres and advanced scripts. The director with the most Oscars by the end of the game wins. So yeah, I like this game because of how quick and fun it is to build a film and get nominated and win Oscars for it. It's very competitive. Some of these studio cards can really affect players. You have no idea. While others really help your movie as far as best original score and screenplay push. And what's fun is, like, once you build this film, you can kind of explain, like, what's going on here. This is obviously a very funny comedy with monsters. So we got one guy, a couple monsters, and they're trying to figure it out. I'm getting a Death Note feel here, right? With a really good soundtrack, and somebody really put their time and effort into screenwriting. So unfortunately, oh, and one thing I forgot to note here was I didn't have to pay the $2 million for screenwriting, so I'm gonna give myself 2 little pointeroos back of millions. Something I forgot to catch there. What do I like? I like how many cards there are in the game. Really creates the replay value when you're running through all these different scripts. You can build so many different types of movies. There's not a lot of B talent actors, and they do get shuffled back into their deck. Why are you there? You're not an actor. And one thing I don't like about the game is how often you see these faces. Like, I've only, if this is all the B-list actors, really, give or take a couple, you continue to see their faces. I wish there were a couple more actors in the game. But of course, you're looking at, when it comes down to, like, the nitty-gritty of how the game's made, you're looking at points realistically, and the players are made after. But with the thing is, there's so many A-list talents that with just 2 rounds, it's hard to, really play with all of them. And that's another thing I had an issue with, is just the fact that you're adding more things in by the 3rd and 4th round. I mean, I get it because it adds, like, a new advancement to the game, but I want to play with it early on because I don't get to see it as much, even though it's still in 2 rounds. But seeing everything else for 4 rounds is kind of a little more draining. However, it doesn't take away from the game at all. I love the way this works more than anything. I love the way that the dice kind of add that, like, random value to the points of your movie. And we are all, while we're playing this game, struggling and scared and tense and on the edge of our seat when these rolls come out terrible or great in this example, because it really influences the game, could really change the game up. Someone can put so much strategy into a certain movie and then get 2 1s. And it's like, that's the reason they falter. I also like the details of how I also like the little details of how genres work, with the action not really having much Oscar opportunity, but a lot of money. Dramas are always great films, probably going to be a Criterion someday, but, it doesn't make a lot of money. And then, of course, everyone loves a horror, but not enough to get nominated. So it's the little things like that that really add to this, that create the immersion of us being directors in this Hollywood cinema. So I want to thank everybody for checking out this video. And of course, like, subscribe, and check out all my other videos. It looks like that's a wrap.